Katie Boulter, great to see you. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Sit Down podcast. How are you?
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. I am currently a little jet lagged and exhausted, but I'm very happy to be here and on the phone with you.
So where in the world do we find you? Why are you so jet lagged?
I am currently in Merida getting ready for my first tournament of this swing. So I'm playing Merida, Indian Wells, and then Miami. And it's a Sunshine State, and it's definitely hot out there. So I'm currently trying to hide from the sun and be indoors, which is nice.
I wanted to say, first of all, congratulations on what's been a great start to the year for you, because your WTA title in Ostrava the other week, how did it feel to be back in the winner's circle and win another title?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I feel like last year I spent so long chasing and just trying to find my form again that I actually kind of forgot for a second what it felt like. And so I think making my third tournament of the year a title, I think that definitely felt really special because it sort of just reminded me of all the hard work that I've put in this last year and also during preseason and going into this year. It just gives me such a good feeling to see the rewards that are coming through. So it felt extra special. And yeah, it was a really good start to the year and hopefully I can continue that momentum.
You've actually now played 5 WTA level finals and you've won 4 of them, which is an excellent record. And, you know, that not every player can say that because finals come with unique pressure. So when you hear that you've won 80% of your finals, what do you think of that? And what do you think happens in finals that sees you so successful?
I think it's I mean, it's interesting because I feel like I'm a kind of player that when I find my groove and, I find conditions and places that suit me, I think that really shows in finals because it shows that my confidence has been building and I have the type of game that I go after it, right? I'm aggressive. I'm not going to kind of sit back and just hope for the other person to make mistakes. I'm going to go after it no matter what, and I'm going to lose on my own terms. So for me, I find that by the time I get to the third, fourth, fifth match, I think I'm in really good shape and I feel so confident and like I'm going to take it to them completely. And I kind of have this mentality ever since my very first title that I'm going to grab the trophy with 2 hands and I'm going to go right after it and I'm going to take it and I'm going to make it happen. Um, yeah, and that's sort of, what I think about when I get to finals. So that's a great stat and hopefully I can keep that up. But, I don't take it
Good.
for granted because I ultimately know that a lot of players play their whole entire career without winning titles, and I've sat here with four titles and a clay court title as well, which would be my fifth one. And yeah, I mean, it's
Good.
kind of completed my full spectrum of titles as well. Like I've got one on indoor hard, I got one on outdoor hard, I got one on grass, and I got one on clay. So I mean, that's pretty cool to say. Like I've got one on every surface, so it shows that I can be versatile too.
Yeah, I love that completeness. That's awesome. Also, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned you'd done a lot of hard work in the preseason, which obviously comes with confidence. Was it the same kind of way you would approach a preseason, or did you do anything differently this year that's kind of, set you off on the right track?
Yeah, I think I got a little lost at the end of last year. I just wasn't really sure what like my true identity was and what kind of made me tick. And I think actually having a moment to myself, which I didn't give myself many moments last year. I went tournament to tournament, just trying to regain some form. And after the whole season, I actually ended up with an injury. And I think that was my body's way of saying, you need to slow down and just stop. Like you're under too much stress. Take a
Mm.
second for yourself and look after yourself. So it was almost a forced stop, but at the same time, I think it really did help me. And it showed me, what I wanted and what I needed during my preseason. I think that was so important. I had 2 weeks off. I didn't touch a tennis racket. I may have ended up in tennis places because of my other half, but I try to get away from it, but I just can't. But yeah, I wasn't playing tennis. I just tried to switch off from it, like not be too much of a tennis player and be human for a minute. And I think that really helped me in my mindset going into preseason and had a change of coaching staff as well. And yeah, I just think it was something fresh and exciting, and it does make such a big difference sometimes.
We definitely do want to get into the new coaching staff that you mentioned. But one thing we like to ask our guests on the sit down every time is to take us back to the beginning and tell us about how you got connected with tennis. How did you get into the sport?
So I have a lot of family that play tennis. I think my whole entire mum's side, they absolutely love it. They live by it, they watch it, they play it. They just enjoy it. And I think that really kind of rubbed off on me as a young girl. I think when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I always used to be at the tennis club and my mum was coaching. And my grandpa was at the same club playing fours with his gentleman. And it was just a very, I don't know, family orientated thing when I was young. And I remember because the tennis club was like 5 minutes from my grandpa's house, and I used to kind of go over to his and kind of waste time when I was like a tiny tot, just hitting on the practice wall. Like I didn't really have much else to do other than just hit against the wall, and I thought it was so fun. I'd probably have my brother with me as well, who's a few years older and a pain in my ass, but he always used to like challenge me to things on the tennis court, and I think that's where my love of competition started. And yeah, I just very much was in tennis. I think it was just natural for me. And as I kind of went through the ages, I realized that I really started to begin to love it as well. And it was just ingrained in me like my family. Yeah, that's how I started.
That's awesome. So it sounds like obviously, yeah, a fan of the game from a young age. So I guess, yeah, were
Yeah.
you watching Wimbledon a lot as a kid? Did you have idols that you looked up to, or maybe modeled your game on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think if I really modeled myself on someone. I think I tried to take aspects of different people. I think as a young girl growing up who had blonde hair and loved tennis, I think naturally I always watched Sharapova, and someone who was into fashion as well. And she's a fashion icon. So I think we all loved her Nike fits. And, I've kind of ended up quite similar being with Nike for over 15 years now. So I think, she was definitely naturally someone that I watched, and I loved the way that she played. She was so aggressive. And, I think I am, again, quite similar to her, maybe not quite the same version of her, but yeah, she was someone. And then obviously I watched a lot of Brits, obviously the Andy Murrays of this world. I was on his journey with him as a young person as well. I think everyone was in the whole of UK, where we just watched him try and achieve a goal, and ultimately he ended up doing that. And I think we all were very inspired by that as kids. So I definitely say they were two of my idols. And then Serena, she is, I mean, her her aura speaks for herself. She is
Good.
she is the GOAT. She is, yeah, you can't compare her to anyone. And someone like that is who I watched as a young girl as well. So there are multiple people I did, but those were probably my staples.
Have you met them? Particularly, like, I'm sure obviously you would know Andy, but like Maria and Serena, do
Yeah.
you know them?
So Serena, I actually have played against. I met her ages ago. I played her in Hopman Cup, actually in Australia, in Perth. And
Oh yeah.
I was so scared. I was actually like, well, scared's probably the wrong word. I think I was just starstruck. I was starstruck. I was like, this woman
Yeah.
she is tennis. She literally is what it's all defined to
Mm.
be. So, and obviously her rivalry with Maria was always, it was amazing to watch. And the way that they both played. But yeah, so I managed to meet her there. I actually met her at the gala. I remember the first time I met her, it wasn't even on tennis court. It was when I was wearing like a Ralph and Russo dress, and she came up to me and was like, "Oh my God, is that Ralph and Russo? That is stunning." And like we had this whole chat about the dress. So yeah, she was extremely warm to me, and I always yeah, kind of remember that moment as yeah, a really sweet moment that I had with her. But Maria, I don't think I've ever met her. I don't think I ever met Maria. So maybe that's one of my books too. I've seen her around, but I don't think I've really fully been formally introduced to her. I mean, I trained in Bradenton at one point, and she was there obviously a lot, but never really had a full conversation.
A 2026 item on your list, hopefully. Um, yeah.
Yeah, maybe so.
Um, on you. When it comes to so yeah, you told us about how you got started in the sport. When you like, I guess, transitioned into the pro ranks, you rose very quickly and you cracked the top 100 in 2018. And that was also the
Yeah.
year you won your first Grand Slam match, which was at Wimbledon, which was really significant.
Yeah.
How did you process all of that success, which came quite quickly?
Yeah, I mean, that success, it was a little bit of a whirlwind, and it is something that I look back on now as something that really defined me as a player and as a person as well, because that was one of my best years. I made top 100. I got my first Wimbledon win. It's what every every girl dreams of, you know, a British girl who's been in the sport. They dream of getting that first Wimbledon win and what that's going to feel like. And kind of going through those milestones are really important. But I think the biggest one for me actually was kind of right after that, where I got injured and had one of my biggest injuries. And I learned so much from that
Good.
process of having an injury and, you know, what my expectations were of that injury, coming back from injury, you know, post injury, kind of thoughts and feelings are a whole nother ball game, and you don't really know what they feel like until you've been through it. So that actually was a moment that I wouldn't change for the world, because I'm in this position that I am now because of it. And it's something I dealt with, and I'm proud that I dealt with it. But it was a really, really hard year for me, as well as it was successful. It was difficult to take, because I felt like I
Good.
was just breaking onto the scene and wanted to really use that momentum, and kind of got stopped quite early.
Yeah. And then I think obviously the injuries bled a bit into 2019 because you
Mm,
didn't play as many matches. And then COVID hit in 2020, which completely stopped
yeah,
tennis. So you talk about that momentum. There were a couple of years there. Even
yeah,
2021 was still COVID affected, even though pro tennis got back, but it was harder to travel and compete. So really, there was almost like a 3-year period you had to endure there. So, you know, what was that? Yeah.
yeah.
How was that, I
No,
guess, for you?
no, it is. It's funny because you notice that, because a lot of people don't really realize that those 3 years were quite similar for me, actually. I used my protected ranking coming back from injury right before COVID happened. And I felt like I just started picking up again and started playing some good tennis. And my level was increasing. And I played the week before Indian Wells. I think it was a 125, and I played great in it. And I was so excited to play Indian Wells and to get going. And then the Sunday night before, they actually cancelled the tournament because of COVID. And I obviously didn't know what was coming, but it was definitely, it was, it was difficult. I mean, I felt like I had three injuries all at once, like 3 years in a row. So it was hard to kind of get the momentum
Mm.
back, but you know, I'm glad that I did. And obviously it was a really difficult time for many people. So for me, it wasn't necessarily about, you know, just dealing with the injury. It was about, obviously, everyone was struggling with something, so it was about just trying to stay in a good place, trying to help other people. And um yeah, I always try to remind myself that someone else has it worse. So no matter where I was at in tennis, I think you just got to remind yourself that there are bigger problems than that.
Yes.
So yeah, it was a difficult time, but again, as I said, it was much worse for many people.
By the end of 2022 and into 2023, that's when you started to return to that mark of 100 that you hit in
Yeah.
2018. So, how different was that experience 5 years on, and how much had you evolved as a player? Like maybe there was probably like a lot more satisfaction getting back there after everything you've just discussed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of felt like sky is the limit a little bit. I felt like I had worked so hard and been through so many brutal moments mentally and physically, that to kind of be off the cycle of injuries is one of the hardest things to get off. And I finally was off of it. And then playing a full season for the first time, it makes all the difference ranking wise. I mean, you start building some points, you start building physically, and you're not stop starting, you're just continuing what your actual level is. So, you know, I think that was a really pivotal year for me. I think it showed me what I could do if I played a full schedule. And um I think I'm very accepting of the situation, that I may be someone that gets more injured than other people, but it is kind of how you handle it and what you come back from that makes it all worth it. um so yeah, I think it was a great moment. But I also think I actually went through some personal things those times as well. And I think that changed my perspective completely. And those personal things were way away from tennis and close to my heart. So I think that was
Mm-hmm.
something that really changed my mindset going into those years. And I was just like, tennis is not important. Our family is important. And it kind of helped me swing a little freely and enjoy it way more, way more.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, putting it into perspective like that, and I
Yeah.
guess then that tallies with what happened, because in 2024 you had what is statistically your best season. It was when You peaked in the rankings at 23 in the world. You made 3 finals and you won your biggest title in San Diego of 500, which was amazing. What clicked for you that season to get you to that level? Because that's a next step up, top 25.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I've always felt like my level was there. You never really know until you do it, which is kind of weird to say out loud. Like you almost have to do it to believe it, right? I thought I had the potential to do it, and that was always my goal, was to get the potential that I felt like I had out of me. But to actually do it, then you start to believe it, then you start to realize what your actual level is. And when you're consistently getting wins week in, week out, that's when you realize, how far you can really go with it. And I think, I kind of started my year reasonably well. And then I stuck to a couple of things that I was working on that year very, very well. I think physically was one of my biggest things. I think it was an accumulation of the years before where I felt like I was getting stronger each year without injuries. And I think that really helped me. And then I managed to really push on that year. I think I was working with a new fitness trainer as well that year. And he was actually Andy Murray's Andy Murray's fitness trainer at the time. And he was kind of helping me believe those things a little bit more. And it helped me push on. And then I kind of unexpectedly went to San Diego with absolutely no expectations. I was genuinely happy just to be getting 1 or 2 wins there, and ended up playing, some of the freest, best tennis of my career. Like I really felt like I was going after the ball. I was kind of committing to what I was doing. Physically, I felt unbelievable. I felt like I'd be out there for hours. So I think knowing that I was in that place then was, it was strange because it kind of happened quite suddenly. But at the same time, it was something that I still felt like within me, I had it. It was just doing it. So yeah, that was the start of a great year. And then I think when you're in that position, it kind of helps you. You'll naturally start getting seeded in things, which is a whole new level of expectation, by the way. It's a totally different ball game when you got people trying to chase you and take your spot rather than you being the chaser. And I think, the whole year I felt like I was the chaser, and didn't think too much about being chased. And I do think that that's important when I play the style of tennis that I play, and that's maybe where I lost my mentality a little bit, and it hurt me. But yeah, I mean, what an incredible year for me. I felt like I really used the momentum well and kept going. And yeah, it was a special one because I got quite a few titles that year, and yeah, I really wanted to build on it.
Around that time as well, you were working with, you were one of the few WTA players working with a female coach, Biliana. I think you worked with her for 3 years. What made you take on a female coach? And yeah, what was the relationship like working with a female coach?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Biliana was so instrumental for me. I love the feeling that she gave me on and off the court. I loved her strength. I loved her compassion, but yet also the feeling of feeling like I had a second mother. I think I see these people as, when you're part of my team, you're part of my family. Like, I see them as being really close. You spend breakfast, lunch, dinner with them. They mean a lot to me. So I'm not really someone that kind of goes through a lot of people. So to start working with Biliana was one of the best things that I think I did. I think she had a very unique coaching style. So for me, it kind of instantly clicked. And I think we were on the same sort of line with things. So that definitely helped me massively. I think she was working with the LTA at the time, and I sort of was crossing over between her and Jeremy Bates for one of the years. And then I think I got to the point that I just loved working with Biliana so much that we went full time. And yeah, I mean, she helped me kind of get to one of my career high ranking, and we went through many milestones together. But it felt really good having a female coach. Obviously, there's not many more, many out there. And it was actually, before that, the only female coach I would have had was my mum. So, and she was probably one of the first people to bring me into tennis. So it felt very familiar. And yeah, I really did like it.
And as you alluded to earlier, you've had a coaching personnel change. This year you've started working with Michael Joyce. He is famous for working with Sharapova, and also Jess Pegula and a lot of other top WTA players. So what perspective has he brought to your game, I guess now in the second or third month of working with him?
Yeah, I think, look, I mean, I think a sense of calm is probably the biggest thing that I found working with him. I think he is very experienced. I always said to myself that I felt like I could get my ranking back up. Obviously, having dropped down the rankings end of last year, it was obviously a goal to get myself back to a good place again. And that was my first goal and above anything else. But then my second goal was, when I do get to that point, I wanted someone that could take me further. I wanted someone that had been in that position before, winning slams and doing well in the bigger weeks. And I think that was a huge reason why I wanted to speak to him. Obviously, the timing happened to be that that he'd finished with the player that he was working with, and they'd split. So it was just a timing thing. I think that really kind of worked. I'd seen him around a lot, and I felt like I liked his kind of aura, and I thought he was a good guy. So I really wanted to try it and see what he was like in the team. But I think for me, it's nice to have a sense of calm and someone that you feel like believes in you and has played the game himself, so he knows what he's kind of looking to improve and looking to do as a player. I always find that really interesting to hear those things. And yeah, I think he has a really good way of coaching. So I'm intrigued. We're obviously still very early on. It's working so far, and we'll see how we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Very promising signs early. Back to when you cracked the top 25, that actually was quite historic for British tennis. That we went back and had a look, and you were just, I'm not sure if you know this, but you were only the fourth British woman in like the last 40 years to do that. So there was Jo Jury in the 80s, and then there was Jo Konta, Emma Raducanu, and you. So how meaningful was that to join, I guess, some like great British names doing something that not many have done?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really cool stat. I didn't know that, so that's fun.
We love a stat.
Yeah, we love a stat, exactly. I started my career actually with Joko being one of the leading ladies, and I always remember being so inspired watching her. And it's funny because she worked with Michael, so it's actually probably the first time that I ever met Michael was at NTC when he was working with Joko. So it's kind of like a full circle thing. It's strange, but yeah, I mean, she's incredible and what she managed to achieve. And actually, she was someone that kind of did it quite late as well. And I think that's kind of resonated with me because I wasn't, the very first person at 16 years old to come and win 3 slams. Like, I was never going to be that person. I was kind of like a ticking time bomb. I needed a bit of time to kind of get my groove and then hopefully do well. Like it took me a bit of time to be a bit later. And I think that's the journey and the beauty of tennis, is that there's no right way or wrong way, right? It's just very personal and every person's different. And I happen to be someone that took a while. So actually Joko was someone I really watched a lot of because I felt like I could be very much like her, and she came through late, and then she was top 10, and yeah, it was so impressive to see her run. So I always had a lot of admiration for her. And then obviously going into like Emma and what she did, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't even have words for it. It was magical. There's no other, like, I don't even have words to describe what that was. That was just something else that will never be replicated with tennis. And yeah, what a truly special moment that was. So to be a part of those people, I mean, that's pretty awesome. Obviously I know Joe Jory as well. I've been on the court with Joe a few times as well. So pretty cool. And yeah, I'm obviously happy to be a part of that group and to have made top 25. I want more, but it's pretty cool.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a group of you trending up now. British women's tennis seems to be in a pretty strong place because obviously Emma's back in the
Yeah.
top 30. You've returned to the top
Mm.
100 after Ostrava, and now Sonay Cartel is in the
Yeah,
top
yeah, yeah.
100. Fran Jones is on the rise. So there's four of you
Yeah.
and more coming. What's the mood like around British tennis or British women's tennis at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, British tennis in general, I feel like we've been improving for a while. I think it's like one of those things that we're secretly improving. We kind of all just get to work and do what we need to do behind the scenes. And, I also know that there's going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of eyes on British girls in general. Which, there's probably not as much on some other people around Wimbledon time. So there's always going to be a lot of opinions on, how well we're doing and how we're not. And I think, for me, myself, I kind of just focus on myself and try and keep myself in my own little bubble and keep improving and take care of my own backyard. I think that's so important. But I think as a whole, it's so great to see the girls doing so well. I've loved seeing Sonay. She is She is so fun to watch. I saw her win her first title, and I'm so happy for her. She's a great person, let alone great tennis player. And I'm never going to put pressure on her, but I genuinely think she's going to be a really, really good tennis player. She's already a great one, but I think she's got a lot of miles to go, and I think she's going to get better and better. So yeah, I'm very pleased to see her doing well. And obviously Fran as well. What an incredible story that is. I mean, what she is doing is,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not comparable to anything else. I mean, with what she has, it's yeah, an inspiration to everyone to show people what can be done, and there literally are no limits. So it's so great to see her doing well, and obviously being back where she belongs, and she'll only get higher. So yeah, I feel like we're in a great place, and we are starting to push people and get more and more people in the top 100, and I'm sure there'll be a few more youngsters coming along soon. Obviously we've got a great group of girls coming through. Hannah, Mika, Mimi. I mean, the list is pretty long. So, yeah, great to see that we are really coming through
True.
somewhere, and yeah, getting what we deserve. But yeah, obviously we got to keep working hard and keep maintaining what we're doing, and I hope that everyone gets what they deserve.
Well, we're taking a particularly keen interest in what's going on in British women's tennis because Australia play Great Britain in Billie Jean King Cup in 2
Do.
months' time down here in Melbourne. Yes, and this is obviously a competition. Your part of your career story is how well you've performed in Billie Jean King Cup for Great Britain. Your record's very positive. Can we expect to see you down in Melbourne in April?
I'm not gonna give my secrets away. I mean, no, I mean, like, I am very much enemies of Australia right now. I love you guys, but I'm not giving anything away. We will have a great team out ready for Australia no matter what. So we'll be ready regardless, of who's playing and who isn't. So yeah, I mean, look, it's going to be a super fun tie. We always love playing Australia. We have battles with them, and no matter what happens, yeah, it'll be a good one. It'll be a show for sure.
I will get to the Australia connection towards the end, but I just wanted to ask you one more thing. Being a British player and having Wimbledon, which is obviously off the slams, it's so unique and historic. Like having that as your home slam, what is that? What is that like as a pro tennis player?
Honestly, I can't even describe it to you because I feel so privileged. I feel
Fact.
so lucky to be a British player at Wimbledon. It's a presence that you feel when you walk onto the grounds, and also to know that it's part of your history. It's part of the country's history. It kind of adds a level on top of that, which is, yeah, it's very, very special. I mean, I never take for granted walking onto the grounds. I actually train a lot there myself. I'm lucky enough to be a member there, so I spend as much as I possibly can every single day at the center, because I think it just adds a level of,
Mm.
I don't even know, it adds a level of excitement and happiness just to be there. It's almost like my little happy place. So yeah, I can't explain what it's like to have a full British crowd roaring for you on center court. That's something that I actually get like goosebumps and tingles when I think about that. Yeah, I mean, obviously
Mm.
there's a few people that have definitely experienced it, but I mean, yeah, it'll go up there as some of the best moments of my life for sure, being on that court. And what an iconic court it is as well. I watched so many matches there from my childhood,
Yeah.
so it means that much more knowing that, I'm lucky enough to have stepped onto that court and played as well, and actually got some of my best wins there.
And also at Wimbledon, there was that famous moment where you sat with Princess Catherine. I think that was in 2019. She might have been watching Harriet
Yeah.
play, and then she came and watched you play a couple of days later. Tell us about that connection, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was quite a surreal moment, because obviously I actually never met her at that point before. And I got a phone call from one of the, like, the Wimbledon, yeah, the Wimbledon committee there, and they asked me if I would like to sit and accompany her to watch a match. And I actually had quite a difficult time with my back. That was right before that. So um I'd been struggling with my body and what have you, and I was in quite a tough place. And to actually get the opportunity to do that and to experience something like that was, yeah, it was a moment I'll remember, that's for sure. I just remember speaking to her, and just the way that she was talking about tennis, you could see the passion that she had. And I think those are the types of people that you want to have conversations with because you share so much in common. But yeah, it felt like a real life moment where you're like, oh, I'm a princess. I'm literally sitting next to a princess. So yeah, it was not an everyday kind of thing. That's for sure. It was not an everyday thing. And yeah, I just remember how pretty and
Yeah.
stunning she was. I was just like in awe, literally.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that story. You alluded to it before. Obviously, you're not enemy number one in Australia, but there is that connection you have with Australia because of your relationship with Alex de Minaur. How at with that, him being your fiance, how at home do you feel when you come to Australia, given that's his country?
Yeah, I mean, the last few years have been, I mean, I've kind of been able to um share a lot of great memories with Alex in Australia because it's where we first met as well. So I feel like we have so many happy places there, and then to be able to share that with everyone, obviously last year after getting engaged, or the year before last getting engaged, I felt so like indoctrinated by the Australian public. I felt like everyone was right behind me. I don't know, I felt so special. I don't know, it sounds crazy, but I felt really, yeah, it was so sweet to kind of see people come out, and just because of my affiliation with him and just to support me, it meant a lot to me actually. And I see it as like my second home, which is probably the nicest thing about it. I get to start my season at my second home, and I don't take that for granted at any point. Like I love going back there, and obviously it's very special because of him. And yeah, we've obviously had a couple of years in a row where we played United Cup against each other, which was also really difficult. And playing
Yeah,
against Australia, I always found it really difficult myself. And you know, against him especially, it was a very unique situation that I don't think anyone's really been in before. So I didn't love that part of it, but the rest of my time in Australia, I have absolutely loved. So yeah, I do feel like I've been welcomed above and beyond.
yeah, we love to hear that. Is there anything particularly Australian that you love to do? Like we always, there's the cliched one like you eat Vegemite and you like it, or there's, we have our beach culture or whatever. Is there anything kind of Australian that you feel you've really connected with or embraced?
Just don't even talk to me about Vegemite. I'm never going to be a Vegemite girl, but I'm certainly a Tim Tam girl. I am like, I'm all in for them. Like when I go
Okay.
home, I literally find the Australian cafes in London just to find Tim Tams. I have issues, I know.
Good.
Um, so I have definitely embraced that side of the culture. The food, I love the food. I'm such a coffee brunch avo basic girl. So I love everything that you have. Melbourne, Sydney. Yeah, I feel like I very much fit right into it. So yeah, I like that side of it. But honestly, I'm still exploring. Like I went to Sydney last year for the first time with Alex. So I actually got to see where he grew up, which was, I actually love that moment because I'd never really been there before with him.
Mm.
I'd been there, but like years ago when I was a child. And I felt like actually him being able to show me places that meant a lot to him was a really special time for me because it meant a lot. He loves obviously going to the beach and barbecues and all sorts of stuff. So I think it was nice to see what meant a lot to him in the Australian culture. And I think we're very similar in the way that we tend to like the same things. So yeah, I absolutely loved spending time in Australia.
I wanted to know you made it was quite significant what you did last year where you sat down with the BBC and discussed the issue of online abuse that tennis players endure. I wondered what prompted you to kind of come out and talk about that so personally, and had seen in that time, it was almost a year ago. Do you think the situation has improved at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think firstly, I know there's been a lot more conversations within the British government. I know for a fact that's been happening, so that's a really positive outcome. It at least sparked some sort of train of thought and conversations, and that was really my main point of doing it, was just to start something, and to see if we could make a bit more of an impact in that area. I think the reason for me starting it was based on a few things. I think, I've been that young girl once. I've been through it. I feel lucky enough that I'm not someone that takes things to heart very, very much. I know I'm going to probably get a lot of abuse and a lot of different things from people. Actually, some praise as well. I get a lot of praise, which is really sweet. But on the flip side of it, you get a lot of abuse with that. And I found that I'm someone that kind of is like water off a duck's back. I don't think too much about it. But I also know that there are girls out there and guys who do get influenced by that massively. And I think I never really had any young siblings growing up. I had my brother who was 3 years older than me, who was always strong, but he was always very mature and kind of knew how to handle these things. And who kind of led the way for me to understand what was right and wrong. And I think being part of Alex's family and seeing his younger siblings grow up a little bit more kind of really made me realize how big social media can influence people. Not that necessarily they were, but I think just listening to what they were talking about and, how sometimes they portray themselves and the things that they pick up from it were really interesting to me. And I felt like sometimes I see people who can take things massively to heart, and I just wanted to try and help the younger generation who sometimes don't have the influence that I had of like an older brother or what have you, like someone to almost like mentor you through it. And to kind of make it a better place for them, so they're not dealing with some of the things that we all deal with as tennis players, as athletes, as people. If it could try and help reduce that for some of the players. I know we've got a lot of young British girls coming up as well, so if it helps them even 1% and makes them feel comfortable, that was my goal with it, really. Yeah.
Oh, well, and that also speaks, I guess, to your perspective. It does sound quite well-rounded. And I wonder, what are some of the things that you like to do away from the court that give you that disconnection from tennis and some, like, I guess, mental separation?
Yeah, no, I think mental separation from the sport is so, so important. It's funny because I was actually talking to someone about this yesterday, where I think it's a really dangerous sport where you can sometimes combine your personal life with your tennis life, and you kind of live and die by every single loss that you have, or even the win as well. I think there are a lot of highs and lows in tennis, which sometimes you need to balance out a little bit and stay a little bit more neutral with. Of course, you got to enjoy the moments, but I think we take things to heart so much that it can actually find that it kind of puts you in a place sometimes of quite a dark place, and you really, it's important that you keep yourself out of that. We lose so many tennis matches during a year that if you keep constantly knocking yourself, you can kind of find yourself in a place you don't want to get to. So yeah, for me, I try and separate it as much as possible. Obviously haven't done a very good job of that since Alex is very much a tennis player, so that side of things wasn't my biggest forte. Found myself indoctrinated in tennis even more than I did beforehand. But yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of my days at tennis courts, which are off, and so does he, watching tennis and supporting each other as we are together. But we also know where to draw the line, right? So I think, even for example, I had, one of the weeks off that I had, he was playing Turin, which obviously is an incredible achievement in itself. Like, tennis players don't, people don't understand that there's only a few tennis players in the world that get to experience a place like that. And it's so impressive to have even gotten there, let alone to be there competing with the best in the world and be one of the best in the world. So I obviously was going to support him at that no matter what. I had a week off and I found myself there. But naturally for me, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to come to practice. I'm going to support you. I'm going to watch your matches. I'm going to be there doing a few things, whether it was like admin on my phone or like, I don't know, doing some Pilates or something random that I may have been doing, but just something where I'm like, okay, this is actually for me, but I'm here for you as well. So it's kind of like I try and find ways to do it.
Yeah.
And that can be anything from literally like reading a book to, I don't know, going shopping to going to like Bikram yoga. I love a Bikram yoga. I think it's so good for you. Watching a bit of Netflix, anything that's just sort of like disengaging my brain into something else. And yeah, obviously after my career, I have a few things that I want to achieve. I probably won't go into those today, but setting a few things up, which may kind of get me, to some fun places after I finish with tennis.
That's good. That future planning is so important. So that's really great to hear. And I guess just finally, it's been so great to chat to you, Katie, and the year has started so well for you. I wanted to know what would a successful 2026 season look like for you?
Um, well, it's funny you say that because I'm planning for this to happen, but hopefully my 2026 season is going to be the best year of my life. I'm marrying, um, my other half. So it's going to be, no matter what, the biggest success that I ever have in my life. So that is already my number one. I'm going to have the best year. I'm going to be so happy. I couldn't be more grateful for what I have. And anything on top of that is a bonus. So I think for me, it's about staying healthy, staying happy, and just enjoying the tennis, and the rest will take care of itself.
I love that answer. Thanks so much, Katie. This was really great to chat
No
to you.
worries.
Good luck this week
Thanks,
in
guys.
Merida, and
Thanks.
and obviously with the wedding planning as well. That's exciting.
Gonna need
And
it. Thank
yeah,
you.
good to chat to you. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys. See ya.